everyone, welcome to Biology with MJ. This is MJ, your enthusiastic guide. So whether you are a NEET aspirant or simply a biology lover, this video is filled with valuable insights and knowledge. Okay, so stay tuned till the end of the video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss an update. Remember to like, comment and share this video with your friends. Okay, so let's get to the video.
Hello students, today we are going to cover the topic the flower. Okay, we are continuing this topic from our previous video. Okay, this is the part 2 of this video, and for the part 1 of this video you can check out the link attached here. Alright, I have covered the inflorescence in that video, the topic the inflorescence, and half portion of the topic the flower. Okay, so we have covered the calyx and corolla whorls in that video, and continuing in this video, we would be covering Androecium, then Gynoecium, okay, and then different kinds of placentations, and then we would be ending with the last 14-year NEET PYQs. So stay tuned till the end of this video. You're going to learn a lot today. Okay, so let's begin with the video. So as we all know, the outermost whorl of a flower is the whorl of sepals, which is called as the calyx, followed by the whorl of petals, which is called as the corolla, which is further followed by the whorl of stamens, also known as the Androecium, and the innermost whorl of the flower is known as Gynoecium, okay, which is the whorl of Carpels. So starting off with Androecium in this video, we are studying, we know that Androecium is the whorl of stamens, okay, so it is composed of stamens, and stamens represent what? The male reproductive organ of the flower. These are the male organs which are responsible for production of the male gametes. Okay, so each stamen consists of a stalk, or which is also known as a filament. Okay, so stalk and filament are the same terms, alternative terms for the same structure, and an anther. So this is how a stamen looks like. It contains a filament, which is a long stalk-like structure. You can call it as a stalk, you can call it as a filament, and the top anther, this lobed structure, bilobed structure here represents the anther. So the description of this structure is mentioned in our next point, that each anther is usually bilobed. Alright, it has two lobes. So if you will zoom in the structure a bit, you will see that it has two lobes like this. Similarly, this structure also has these two lobes. These represent the anthers. The top of these filaments contain these structures, consist of these structures. So each of these lobes, this oval lobe, if I zoom in and if I cut a section out of it, if I cut a transverse section of this anther, I will find that each of the lobes has two chambers, which are also known as the pollen sacs. Okay, so see, if I will cut off a transverse section of this bilobed anther, I would obtain a structure like this. This is what I would be able to view. So this is one lobe, this is the second lobe, and each lobe, see, comprises of two pollen sacs. So these structures represent the pollen sacs, and these sacs extend throughout the length of these lobes. Okay, so whole of these lobes inside would contain pollen sacs. Each lobe would have two pollen sacs. So see, one pollen sac would be present there, and outside there, this is this one pollen sac, it is present here. Okay, one pollen sac is present here, and the one pollen sac is present behind it. So in total 4 pollen sacs are there. So the pollen, what is present in pollen sacs, as the name suggests, these are the sac of pollen grains. So each of the pollen sacs contains pollen grains, and pollen grains are the structures which bear the male gametes. So stamens are of two kinds. Now a stamen could be fertile or a stamen could be sterile. Okay, a fertile stamen is the one which produces pollen grains that contain viable male gametes. Okay, focus on the word viable. All right, viable male gametes would be the ones which would be able to fuse with the egg cell in order to produce the zygote, then embryo, and so on. But in sterile stamens, what happens is pollen grains are not produced. These are certain abortive stamens. Okay, they are known as staminodes. A sterile stamen can also be known as a staminode because they are non-functional. A sterile stamen is non-functional because they do not produce pollen grains. So, no pollen grains are produced in this case. That is why sterile stamens are also known as staminodes. Okay, so you can observe this flower. This is the scientific name of this flower is Penstemon grinelli. Okay, this is the scientific name of this flower. As you can see, it has a hairy stamen. See how many hairs are arising from this structure. So it has a very hairy kind of stamen. This is a staminode. Okay, because this stamen is sterile, so it can be also called as a staminode. Okay, so a double I should be present here. Yeah, this is the correct spelling. Okay, so let's move forward now. Now, stamens of flowers can either be united with the other whorls, for example, petals, or they could be united among themselves. So, this line means that the stamens can be either attached to the petals. Being united with the other whorls means being fused with them. So, stamens can be attached to the petals. That means they can be fused with the petals. Okay, when they are attached with the petals, that condition is known as epipetalous condition. Okay, so see, this is the petal of the flower. This peach color or pinkish color structure is the petal of the flower, and these 5 structures are the stamens. So each of these stamens, see, you can see the point of attachment here. Each of these stamens is attached to the petal of the flower. Such condition is known as epipetalous condition, and epipetalous stamens are seen in brinjal. So one of the examples of epipetalous stamens is brinjal. Okay. Now, stamens can also be united among themselves. Okay, they can be fused with each other also. Okay, so these are the 2 cases that can be seen. Now, stamens can also be attached to the perianth of the flowers, as in the flowers of lily. So, we studied the presence of perianth in the flowers of lily. What is a perianth? When you cannot differentiate between the calyx and corolla whorls of the flower. You cannot distinguish sepals from petals. Okay, so these when you are not able to distinguish between these 2 whorls, we call that structure as a perianth. We collectively call those 2 whorls, or the whorl that is present towards the outside, the outermost whorl, as the perianth. Okay, it can be seen in the flowers of lily, and if stamens are attached to the perianth, the condition is known as epiphilous condition. So when stamens are attached to the petals, the condition is epipetalous. Now we are seeing petals there because we can distinguish between sepals and petals. Now when you cannot distinguish between sepals and petals, that means both of these whorls have structures which look identical to each other, or which are not distinguishable from each other. They are present in an integrated form. So in those cases, stamens would be attached to what? Tepals. Okay. The single segment or the components of the perianth are known as tepals. The components of corolla are known as petals. The components of calyx are known as sepals. Similarly, the components or the individual units of perianth are known as tepals. So when stamens are attached to tepals or to the perianth, we can say the condition is known as epiphilous condition. See, you can see here, these are the stamens, these are attached to the tepals here. Okay, these white colored structures are the tepals. Okay, these are the part of the perianth of the flower. And see here, this was the white flower of lily. This is a reddish kind of flower of lily, red flower of lily. If you will peel off one of the tepals, you can see this is how the stamens are attached to the tepals, like this. This is how they are attached to the perianth. So such condition is epiphilous condition. Okay, and these kinds of stamens are found in lily. Alright, now let us move forward. So stamens can be further categorized into 2 types. Okay, based upon if they remain free or if they remain united amongst each other. We are talking about earlier we were talking about the condition when they are attached to other whorls of the flower. Now we are talking about fusion amongst themselves. So if stamens remain free, that means they are not attached to each other, not fused with each other. They are free of each other, present individually, have their own structure, individual identity. No fusion is seen between the adjacent stamens. Such condition is known as polyandrous condition, where stamens remain free. Now in synandrous condition, stamens remain united. Okay, that means they remain fused with each other. Now synandrous condition can be further classified into three types: monoadelphous condition, diadelphous condition, and polyadelphous condition. Okay, see, androus term is mentioned here because it is related to Androecium. Okay, and here adelphous term is mentioned. Adelphous is the fusion of stamens into bundles. So usually it means that the filaments are united with each other. When we say adelphous, we means that the filaments of the stamens are fused together so that they are now present in a bundle. Okay, so what happens in monoadelphous condition? The stamens may be united into one bunch or one bundle. So mono means one only, right? So monoadelphous means one bundle. All the stamens are united and are present as one bundle or one bunch. This condition is seen in China rose, or the scientific name of China rose is hibiscus. Okay. Now in diadelphous condition, the stamens can be united in two bundles. Di means two. So in this condition, stamens are present as two separate bundles. Okay. In one bundle, the stamens are fused with each other. The filaments of stamens are fused with each other. There is a second bundle also in which the filaments of the stamens are fused with each other in order to form a bundle. But these two bundles are not fused with each other. The members of these two bundles are not fused with each other. So these two are separate bundles. That's why we are saying it is diadelphous condition, which means that two bundles are present, and this condition is seen in P. Okay. Now in polyadelphous condition, the stamens can be united into more than two bundles. Now we studied about one bundle, two bundle, then more than two bundles. No matter the number of bundles that are present, we would call the condition as polyadelphous. Okay. So here more than two bundles, whenever more than two bundles are present, be it 3, 4, 5 or 6, such condition would be known as polyadelphous condition. Okay. So example of polyadelphous condition is seen in citrus. Now you can see in the diagram here the stamens are united as one bundle. This is in China rose, the monoadelphous condition. Okay. Let us look at the diadelphous condition. Here two bundles are present. See, one stamen is present here and the rest of the stamens are present as this bundle here. Okay, so one of the stamens is free and others are fused, but still they are present as two separate slots, right? Or we can say as two separate bundles, two individual structures. You can differentiate between this bundle and this free stamen. So that is why two components are present here. Okay, we can distinguish between these two kinds of stamens because this is free and these are fused. So diadelphous condition, we can also say in this case diadelphous condition exists here. Okay, it is the example that is seen in pea flower we studied in the previous slide. Now in polyadelphous stamens, what happens is more than two bundles are present. See, four bundles are present here. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, this is the flower of citrus. Okay, in citrus we can see such condition. This was about the different kinds of conditions. Now there can also be variation in the length of the filaments of the stamens within a flower. Okay, within a flower, numerous stamens are present. Now there can be some stamens where the length of the filament is longer than other stamens. Okay, so such variation in the length of the filaments of a stamen within the same flower is seen in salvia and mustard plants. Okay, salvia belongs to the family Lamiaceae and mustard belongs to the family Brassicaceae. So members of Brassicaceae and Lamiaceae families always show these kinds of variations in the lengths of their filaments within a flower. Okay, usually the members of the same family, okay, be it family Fabaceae or Brassicaceae, Lamiaceae, Liliaceae, the members of any family would always be sharing the same characteristics. Okay. For example, if there is variation in the lengths of filaments within a flower, there would be variation in the lengths of filaments in all of the members of the family Lamiaceae, or all of the members of the family Brassicaceae. Okay, so there are some core traits which remain common across all the members of the same family. That is why those members are kept in that family in the first place, right? So as you can see, this flower is of mustard plant, and you can just look, unequal lengths of stamens are present because of variation in the length of filaments. So these 4 stamens which are present towards the inside are the long stamens because they have longer filaments. And these stamens which are present towards the outside are shorter in length. You can see this much length is shorter, right? So these are the short stamens which have shorter filaments. Okay, so this was about variation in the lengths of filaments within a flower. Now let's come to our innermost wall, which is the gynoecium, which is the wall of carpels, or you can also call it as pistils. Okay, one and the same thing. It is the female reproductive part of the flower. It is made up of one or more carpels or pistil. Now a carpel, if we look at a structure of a carpel, it is divided into 3 parts. The topmost part of the carpel, see, this is the carpel, this is how a carpel looks like. Okay, the topmost part is known as the stigma. It is present at the top of the structure. Okay, this has a very sticky surface because of secretion of certain liquids, which makes it a receptive surface for pollen grains. Here the pollen grains comes and get deposited. They get stuck to the stigma because of the presence of a very liquid kind of substance, very sticky kind of substance over its surface. Pollen grains are able to stick to it. So this is the structure which receives pollen grains. Then there is this long structure which is known as the style. This structure connects the ovary to the stigma. The stigma is connected to the ovary via the style. Okay, so the lowermost portion is the ovary. Okay, this circular bulbous portion is the ovary. This is the enlarged basal part of carpel on which lies the elongated tube, the style. Okay, and ovary is the structure which bears ovules, and ovules bear the egg. So we can write ovary bears ovules and ovules bear the egg, which is the female gamete. So these structures here, these green ovular structures are ovule. Okay, so each ovary bears one or more ovules attached to a flattened cushion-like placenta. So an ovary can contain one ovule or more than one ovule, and each of the ovule is attached to a flat cushion-like tissue which is known as the placenta. Okay, so here also the same structure is seen. The carpel is seen within a flower which consists of stigma, style and ovary, innermost wall. Here a single carpel is present. Okay, or it could be more than one carpels which are fused together, which we would study in details later on. Then there is the wall of stamens, then petals and then sepals. Okay, now let's move forward. The number of carpels can vary in different plants. Okay, so the number of carpels, it is not that all the flowers would have a single carpel or 2 carpels or 3 carpels. It depends from plant to plant, family to family that we are studying. Okay, now based upon the number of carpels and based upon whether the carpels remain free or whether they get fused to each other, if they are present in more than one number, more than 2 or 3, okay, more than one number. If they're present in a number of 2, 3 or 4, they could be either present as free structures or they could be fused with each other. So based on whether they are fused or free, carpels can be divided into 3 kinds of categories. One is monocarpous condition, second is apocarpous condition, and the third is syncarpous condition. Now mono means one, so, and carpus is the term which is, you can just see it is related to carpels. So it literally means a single carpel. So single carpel is present in monocarpous condition, which is seen in pea and mango. Okay. Apocarpous condition is the one in where carpels are free. They are not fused with each other. They are present as individual structures within the flower. Okay, so it is seen in lotus, rose, michelia. Okay, please remember these examples. These are very important, and questions from these examples especially appear a lot in the NEET exam. Now in syncarpous condition, the carpels are fused with each other. Okay, it is seen in tulip, tomato and mustard plants. Okay, so syncarpous here carpels are fused. Apocarpous means the carpels are free. Okay, so tulip, tomato and mustard are the examples of the syncarpous condition where carpels are fused with each other. Now types of carpels, you can see it in the diagrammatic form. A monocarpous condition shows the presence of a single carpel. Apocarpous condition, carpels remain free. See, one carpel and two carpels, third carpel is present behind. It is shown as a dotted structure because it is present behind. Just because of that reason, it is shown as a dotted structure for your better understanding of where it is located. Right, so this is apocarpous condition. You can see the carpels are not fused here. Now syncarpous condition is the one where fused carpels are present. See, a carpel, how can they be fused? The carpels can be fused with each other in different ways. Here only the ovary portion is fused. Here they are fused up to the style. Most of the style region is covered here, but not the whole. So little bit of style is free, and then the stigmas are free here. Here it is fused. The style is fused, ovary is fused, but the stigmas are free. Here the stigmas are also fused. So these are the different ways in which carpels can be fused with each other. So you can see this is the apocarpous condition in michelia. In michelia, apocarpous condition is there and the carpels are free. See, this is the innermost wall, which is the gynoecium. If you will observe closely, you will find that multiple carpels are present here, and each of these are present as free structures. Each of these show the presence of an ovary, a style and a stigma. See, this is the ovary, style and stigma. So multiple of these structures are present here in this diagram like this. Ovary, style and stigma. So these are present in as the innermost wall, which is the gynoecium. So here the carpels are free. Now there is this syncarpous condition which is seen in tulip. Okay, here in syncarpous condition, what happens? The carpels are fused with each other. So you can see this is the innermost wall, okay, of which is known as the gynoecium. Here 3 carpels are fused with each other. Okay, see their stigmas. You can from the stigma you can observe that 3 carpels are fused, because this is stigma number 1, 2 and 3 of 3 carpels which have come and fused together. Okay, so this is about the syncarpous condition and apocarpous condition. Now let's come to placentation. What is placentation? The arrangement of the ovules within the ovary is of different kinds in different kinds of flowers and in different kinds of families. Okay, each family has a characteristic placentation. Brassicaceae would have a certain kind of placentation. Fabaceae would have a certain kind of placentation. Solanaceae would have a separate kind of placentation. Liliaceae would have its own characteristic placentation. So the members of each of the members of these specific families or the respective families would have a certain kind of placentation. The members of the same family would have the same kind of placentation. Okay, so the arrangement of ovules within the ovary is known as placentation, and these arrangements are of different kinds. Based on that, we can classify placentation into different types of categories. Okay, so there is marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central and basal. Okay, so let us study each of these placentations in detail. Now, what happens in marginal placentation, which is our number one placentation? Here, placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary. Okay, and ovules are born on this ridge forming two rows. Example, pea plant. So this kind of placentation is seen in pea plant, which belongs to the family Fabaceae. See, the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary. This is the ridge. Okay, and ovules are born on this ridge forming two rows. So this is, in this image you can see one row. Okay, but in the next image I'll show you. If you will split open a pea pod, you can find two rows of peas. Okay, you call these as peas, but these are what? These are actually ovules, right? So you can see these are two rows here. What happens in this case? Placenta is ultimately forming the ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary, and the ovules are born on this ridge forming two rows. So this tissue right here, this is the placenta, and ovules are attached to the placenta. Okay, and the ovules are born in two rows, row number 1 and row number 2. Now let's come to the axial placentation. In axial placentation, the placenta is axial and the ovules are attached to it in a multilocular ovary. So whenever axial placentation is there, the ovary is multilocular, which means more than one carpel have come together and fused with each other. That is why the ovary has multiple locules. Okay, because a single carpel would have one locule. When it comes and fuses with another carpel, now the ovary would be bilocular. Then another carpel comes, if the gynoecium is composed of three carpels which are fused together, it would be trilocular. So and so on. Okay, so in axial placentation, the placenta is axial. It is present here. Okay, and this is the placenta. Okay, this region right here. And ovules are attached to it like this. This is ovule, this is ovule. And this ovary is multilocular. So how many locules are present here? Number 1, number 2 and number 3. 3 locules are present in this ovary, and each locule contains 2 ovules. Here 2 ovules are present, here 2 ovules are present, and here 2 ovules are present. Alright, and here seed is mentioned because ovules ultimately convert into seeds post-fertilization. Okay, so seeds are ultimately formed from the ovules only. So this is the lemon cross section of a lemon fruit. You can see this is at the central portion, the placenta is present, to which the ovules are present attached like this. So these are the ovules or the seeds, and this is the placenta to which the ovules are attached. Okay, so this kind of placentation is seen in China rose, tomato and lemon. Okay, and this attachment to placenta, why is it necessary? Because the ovule derives nutrition from the parent tissue via this structure. Okay, placenta is the connecting tissue between the future generation and the mother or the maternal generation. Okay, it is the connection between the parent and the offspring. That is how it will receive nutrition from the parent, through placenta, which is the connecting tissue between the two. Okay, so examples are China rose, tomato and lemon. Now let's come to parietal placentation. In parietal placentation, the ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary, or we can say that they are born on the peripheral part of the ovary. Okay, so see, this layer is the outer wall of the ovary and this layer is the inner wall of the ovary. So the ovules arise from the inner wall of the ovary like this. Now this region can be also called as the peripheral part of the ovary, because periphery means the region which is present towards the outside, towards the boundaries. So here the ovules are present towards the outside of the ovary, that is on the boundaries of the ovary. Okay, so in this case, in parietal placentation, what happens is the ovary is one chambered. a single chamber is present, but it appears to have become two-chambered because of the formation of a false septum. Okay, this is a false septum. This is not a true septum. So it forms later on and it gives the unilocular ovary or single chambered ovary and an appearance of having two chambers like this. So this blue line represents the septum and these grey structures represent the ovules which are born towards the periphery or on the inner walls of the ovary. Okay, so this kind of placentation is seen in mustard and argemone plants. Now let's come to free central placentation. In free central placentation, the ovules are born on the central axis. This is the central axis here and this is the placenta, right? This is the placenta and the ovules are born like this around the placenta. They are born on the central axis and here the septa are absent. As you can see, no septa is present in this ovary. So such kind of placentation where the ovules are present on the central axis and the septa are also absent, a single locule is present. This kind of placentation is known as free central placentation, which is seen in dianthus and primrose. Okay. Now let's come to the basal placentation. In basal placentation, as the name suggests, that placenta develops at the base of the ovary. Okay. So this is where the placenta develops. This is the base of the ovary. And a single ovule is attached to the placenta. So this structure here is the ovule. Okay. This structure is the ovule. So let me choose a different color here. If this is the placenta, placenta forms at the base of the ovary. Okay, and a single ovule is attached to the placenta. This is the ovule which is attached to the placenta. Okay, so that is why the name is basal placentation, because the placenta is developing at the base of the ovary and a single ovule is attached to the placenta, and such kind of placentation is seen in sunflower and marigold. And basal placentation is the most advanced kind of placentation. Please remember, it is a very important point. This kind of placentation is the most advanced kind of placentation of all the placentations that we have studied. Okay, so you can look at this diagram to have a better understanding of how ovules are arranged in different kinds of placentations. Okay, so in marginal placentation, the ovules are arranged in two rows along the ventral suture of the ovary. Okay, the placenta is present along the ventral suture of the ovary and the ovules are born in two rows like this. Okay, so this is the topmost view. If you cut the transverse section of the ovary and look at from the top, only two ovules would be seen here. Okay, if you would look at a top, if you would change the angle, you would be able to see all the ovules present in the rows in a series in marginal placentation. Then in axial placentation, the ovary contains septa. Okay, it is divided into chambers, into multiple locules. So here trilocular condition is there and the ovules are attached to the centrally located placenta. Okay, like this. Ovules can be seen attached to the placenta in axial placentation. In parietal placentation, the ovules are present towards the periphery. Okay, or they are rising from the inner wall of the ovary like this, and no septa is present here. If the septa is present, it is a false septum which forms later. Okay, in free central placentation, the ovules are located around the central axis. The placenta is present centrally here and the ovary contains no septa. A single or a unilocular ovary is present here. If you would cut a transverse section of such an ovary, this is how the ovules would appear to be arranged like. Okay, then in basal placentation, a single ovule is present attached to the placenta. Okay, the placenta here is present at the base of the ovary and a single ovule is attached to it. So this is the longitudinal section of such a carpel, and if you would cut a transverse section of this ovary and look at it from the top, you would observe that this yellow circle is present in the center and this circle represents the ovule only. So these two structures are the same. These are the ovules. A single ovule is present in a unilocular ovary, okay, attached to the base of the ovary. So this was about different kinds of placentation. Now these are the post-fertilization events. So initially what happens is pollination takes place, okay, the transfer of the male gamete takes place on the stigma, that is the transfer of the pollen grains occurs on the stigma of the female reproductive organ or the female flower. So once the pollen grain, the process of the deposition of the pollen grain from the stamens to the stigma of the carpel, this process is known as pollination, okay. So pollination takes place. Post pollination, what happens? The male the pollen grain having the male gamete, pollen grain would grow, produce a pollen tube. The male gametes would be present inside that tube. They would reach the egg cell. Fertilization of male gamete with the female gamete would take place. Okay. Now the egg would get fertilized. Now post fertilization, what would happen? Petals and stamens will wither and fall away. The ovary would become fruit and the ovule would become seed. Each of the ovule would become seed. This green colored portion, the bigger one is the ovary, and inside these bead-like structures are the ovules. So this is the bigger view of that image. This is the fruit wall, pericarp. This is the ovary portion, which comprises numerous seeds which represent the ovules. So post fertilization, the ovary wall turns into the fruit wall or pericarp, and the ovules turn into seeds which are arranged like this inside the ovary. So ovary turns into pericarp and the ovules turn into seeds. Petals and stamens will fall away now because the fruit has formed. So the fruit, the ovary becomes fruit. See, it is also written here also, ovary becomes fruit and each ovule becomes seed. And each seed, what does it contain? It contains a tiny plant. What does it contain? Each seed contains the embryo, because post-fertilization, the egg fused with the male gamete to form the zygote. Zygote formed the embryo. Now, this tiny plant is the embryo only, which is the future generation or the future plant. Once the seed will germinate, this is the embryo which would give rise to a new plant. So each seed, it is said, each seed it is mentioned here contains a tiny plant. Now see, this is the mature fruit. Then this fruit contains numerous ovules which have turned into seeds. So these are the various seeds, and each of these seeds contains the embryo which is the future plant. These embryos, when they will form the plants, they will again flower and the cycle will continue again. Okay, so this is, if we can consider, this is the future flower. Okay, the embryo has germinated, formed a new plant which has borne various flowers now. So the cycle will again continue. So these are just this is just a summary of the post-fertilization events. Now let's come to the last 14-year Neet PYQs. This is the latest PYQ from Neet 2023, which says that exile placentation is observed in. Option number 1 says China rose, petunia and lemon. Option number 2 says mustard, cucumber and primrose. Then China rose, beans and lupin, tomato, dianthus and pea. So what happens in exile placentation? The placenta is present axially. That is, axial also means around the axis. Okay, so this is how the axial placentation looks like. This is the ovary, all right, and the placenta is present axially around the axis, and the axis is present towards the center. So this is where the placenta is located. The ovary is multilocular, okay, divided into various chambers. Septa is present. Okay, these lines represent the septa, and the ovules are attached to the placenta, which is located axially. So this is the exile placentation. Now where is it observed? So the axial placentation is observed in option number 1, China rose, petunia and lemon. These members show the presence of axial placentation. Lemon, we studied also, we saw a picture of lemon while studying axial placentation also. Okay, now let us look at the other members also. Now mustard and cucumber show parietal placentation. Okay, so we can write P here because they show parietal placentation. Beans, lupin and pea. Beans, lupin and pea, all of these three show marginal placentation because all of these belong to the family Fabaceae. Okay, if you know pea belong to the family Fabaceae, we just studied also. Okay, few minutes back we studied that. So beans, lupin and pea belong to the same family and members of the same family would have same characteristics. Okay, so they would have the same kind of placentation, which is marginal placentation. Dianthus and primrose, they contain free central placentation. So dianthus and primrose here, they contain free central placentation. Okay, we studied that these two examples only while studying free central placentation. So China rose here and tomato here are left. China rose we have already studied that it contains what kind of placentation? It contains axial placentation, and tomato also it contains axial placentation. If you would have, we all know that when we cut tomato, we can just observe tomato slice like this only. It appears like this only. These seeds are attached towards the center and there are various septa. The fruit is divided into numerous chambers. Okay, so tomato also has axial placentation. Okay, we can write axial here. So the correct answer here is option number 1. In fact, while studying axial placentation, we studied these 3 examples only: China rose, tomato and lemon. These are the examples of axial placentation. But here, the most suitable option here, which has all the members showing axial placentation only, is option number 1. Okay, so let us move forward now. Now this question is from Neet 2022. Which one of the following plants shows vexillary estivation and diadelphous stamens? Diadelphous means that the stamens are present in 2 bundles. Okay, and vexillary estivation we studied in the previous video also, right? That it is known as papilionaceous estivation as well. It is found in the members of the family Fabaceae. So among these examples, which one of the following belongs to the family Fabaceae? It is Pisum sativum, whose common name is pea. So we studied that pea and bean. We studied the example of pea and bean and vexillary estivation in the previous video. In this video, we studied about diadelphous stamens and the example we studied was pea. So the correct answer to this question is option number 2, Pisum sativum. Okay, and regarding vexillary estivation, all of the members of the family Fabaceae would show vexillary estivation. Okay, so pea and beans were the examples that we studied in the previous video. Regarding the other options, all of the other options show valvate estivation. Okay, so these options are incorrect. Okay, here Solanum nigrum is potato, Allium cepa is onion. Okay, so all of these 3 examples are incorrect. The correct answer is option number 2, Pisum sativum. Option number 1 and 3 and 4 are incorrect. Now this question is from Neet 2021. Diadelphous stamens are found in option number A, China rose, citrus, P, China rose and citrus. So this is the same question only, just asked in a different way and asking only about the condition of stamens that is present. So we studied already that diadelphous stamens are found in P. So option number A, B and D are incorrect. Okay, in China rose, monoadelphous condition is seen. Okay, so China rose has monoadelphous condition and citrus has polyadelphous condition. We studied about China rose under monoadelphous condition, citrus under polyadelphous condition and pea under diadelphous condition in this video only. Okay, so the correct answer to this question would be undoubtedly option number C. Now this question is from Neet 2020. Ray florets have, option number 1 is saying inferior ovary, option number 2 is saying superior ovary, option number C says hypogynous ovary and option number 4 says half inferior ovary. Now this question, I skipped it in the last video accidentally. So in this video we are covering it. So ray florets, as we all know, we studied it in the epigynous condition. Epigynous condition means that the ovary is inferior. So ray florets and disc florets are two kinds of flowers which are present in a sunflower. So a sunflower is not a flower, it is an inflorescence which is made up of numerous flowers which are called as florets. Now in the sunflower, two kinds of florets are there, ray florets and disc florets. So ray florets have inferior ovary. Okay, that is epigynous condition is seen in ray florets. So the correct answer is option number A. Option number B, option number C and D are incorrect. Okay, so let us move forward now. This question is from Neet 2019. Placentation in which ovules develop on the inner wall of the ovary or in the peripheral parts? See, this is a very direct question. Whenever you will come to this term peripheral part, you can automatically relate it to parietal placentation. Okay, because whenever the ovules would be present on the periphery or on the inner wall of the ovary, the placentation would be parietal always. Okay, these are like the keywords in parietal placentation. Okay, make it a habit of learning the keywords in all of the concepts. Whatever concept you study, each concept would have certain keywords. So focus on the keywords, try to remember them, because it would make your recollection of that concept that much faster. Okay, so the answer to this question is option number B, parietal placentation, because it is the parietal placentation in which the ovules are present towards the inner wall of the ovary or towards the boundaries of the ovary, which is also known as the peripheral part. Okay, so option number A, C and D are incorrect. Now the term polyadelphous is related to a question from Neet 2016, Gynoecium, Androecium, corolla or calyx. A very easy question. The term polyadelphous is related to Androecium. Adelphous means when the stamens are fused with each other, they are present together as a bundle. Okay, when the filaments of stamens are fused with each other, so that they are now present in a bundle. So there are various kinds of categories in which such conditions can exist. If a single bundle of stamens is present, it is the monoadelphous condition. If two bundles of stamens are present, it is a diadelphous condition. If more than two bundles of stamens are present, it is a polyadelphous condition. Okay, so the correct answer is option number B, Androecium, because Androecium is the wall of stamens. So the term polyadelphous is directly related to Androecium. Option number A, C and D are incorrect. All of these options represent the other walls of the flowers, but polyadelphous term is not related to any of these walls. It is related to Androecium. Okay. Now this question is from Neet 2016. How many plants among Indigofera, Sisbania, Salvia, allium, aloe, mustard, brownish, radish, gram and turnip have stamens with different lengths in their flowers? Now see, it is talking about the concept of stamens having different lengths within flowers. Now we studied two examples in this case, that flowers having stamens showing variation in their lengths within the same flower. We studied this concept in two examples, which were salvia and mustard. These were the two examples that we studied in this concept. Now salvia belongs to the family Lamiaceae and mustard belongs to the family Brassicaceae. So are salvia and mustard present here? Yes, salvia is here and mustard is here. So these are the two families whose members show stamens having different lengths within the same flower. Okay, some stamens would have longer filaments, some stamens would have shorter filaments, and both of these kinds of stamens are present within the same flower. So members of these families, these two families, show such kinds of stamens. So among all of these following examples, we can just identify which of these members belongs to Lamiaceae and Brassicaceae, and our answer would be there. Answer would be solved. Question would be solved, right? So let us look at each of the other examples and identify their families first. Okay, this is how you should approach a question. So Indigofera belongs to the family Fabaceae. Okay, Sisbania also belongs to the same family Fabaceae. Allium belongs to the family Liliaceae. Aloe also belongs to the same family Liliaceae. Mustard we have already talked about. Groundnut belongs to the family Fabaceae. Radish belongs to the family Brassicaceae, so we can circle this. Okay, it also belongs to the family Brassicaceae, so it also shows this condition. Gram belongs to the family again. It belongs to the family Fabaceae. And turnip. Now turnip again belongs to the family Brassicaceae. So how many circles we have? We have 4 circles. So 4 examples out of all of these show stamens with different lengths in their flowers. So the correct answer would be option number B, 4. Okay. So let us move forward now. Now this question is from Neet 2016. Free central placentation is found in Dianthus, Argemone, Brassica or Citrus. So Dianthus here, what kind of placentation is now let us look at free central placentation first. In free central placentation, the ovules were arranged around the central axis and there was no septa present in the ovary. It was a unilocular ovary. Okay, and the condition looked like this. If this is the ovary, these are the inner and outer walls of the ovary, and the ovules are arranged around the central axis like this. The placenta is located centrally. No septa are present. The ovary is unilocular, and this is how ovules are arranged around the central axis where the placenta is located. So this free central placentation, it is found in the 2 examples that we studied in this case. If you would remember, these were Dianthus and Primrose. So free central placentation is seen among these following options. Which matches our examples? So option number A, Dianthus is there. Primrose is not there. Dianthus is present in our options. So the correct answer is option number A. Free central placentation is found in Dianthus. In Argemone, parietal placentation is seen. In Brassica also, parietal placentation is seen. Whereas in Citrus, axial placentation is seen. Alright. So this was about this question. Let us move forward now. This question is from Neet 2015. Axial placentation is present in C. So many questions have appeared from placentation concept. So it is a very important concept and you must study it thoroughly, remember it examples thoroughly. Okay. So this kind of placentation is seen in axial placentation. We already know that the ovary appears like this. It is divided into various chambers or locules. The placenta is present axially, that is around the axis. Axial means around the axis, and this is axial placentation. That is why the name axial is given to this placentation, because the placenta is present axially or around the axis, and ovules are born attached to the placenta like this, okay, around the axis. So this kind of placentation we studied it in, out of the following examples, in lemon it is seen. Okay, in China rose, in tomato and in lemon. These were the 3 examples that we studied in axial placentation, and the correct answer of this question would be option number C, because out of all the examples that we have studied, the only one that matches our examples is option number C, lemon. Argemone shows parietal placentation, as we discussed in the previous question as well. Dianthus comprises of free central placentation, as discussed in the previous question also. P comprises of marginal placentation. Yeah, marginal. Let me write it again here. Marginal placentation. Alright. So the correct answer to this question is option number C. Option number A, B and D are incorrect. Now placentation in tomato and lemon is, this question is from AIIMS 2012. Placentation in tomato and lemon is axial placentation. So in axial placentation, we studied that there were 3 examples: China rose, tomato and lemon. In axial placentation, the ovary is divided into numerous chambers. There are septa which are present in the ovary, which divided into numerous chambers or locules. The placenta is located axially, that is around a central axis, and the ovules are born attached to the placenta axially only, that is around the axis towards the center. So this kind of placentation, we studied it in China rose, tomato and lemon. So it is seen in this kind of placentation which is being talked about in the question is axial placentation. Option number A, B and C are incorrect. Now this question is again from AIIMS 2012. The gynoecium consists of many free pistils in the flowers of. Now many free pistils are being talked about. That means apocarpous condition is being talked about. What were the 3 conditions that we studied based upon whether the carpels are fused or free? Monocarpus, where a single carpel is present. Apocarpus, where the multiple carpels are present but they are free, not fused with each other. And syncarpus condition, where the carpels are fused with each other and multiple carpels are present in the flower, in a flower. So the gynoecium, the example that we studied in apocarpus condition was option number D, Michelia. You remember in the diagram of Michelia that we saw, there were numerous carpels that were arranged centrally in the gynoecium. Okay. So the correct answer, and all of the carpels were free, not fused with each other. They were present centrally and they were free of each other. None of the carpels were fused with each other. So option number D, Michelia, is the correct answer to this question. Option number A, option number C, and option number B are incorrect. Now let us move forward now. In unilocular ovary with a single ovule, the placentation is, this question is from AIPMT 2010. Options are marginal, basal, free central, or exile. So it is a direct question. It is being said the ovary is unilocular with a single ovule. So we studied this kind of placentation where a single ovule is present in a unilocular ovary in basal placentation, which is the most advanced of all the kinds of placentations. So in basal placentation, if this is the ovary, the placenta is, let me draw this properly. This is the ovary. The placenta is located towards the base of the ovary and the ovule is born attached to the placenta. Single ovule is born attached to the placenta. Like this. So the placenta here develops basally and a single ovule is attached to it. The ovule is unilocular. So this kind of placentation is basal placentation. Okay. Option number A, option number C, and option number D are incorrect. Okay. So that was all for today's video, students. Hope you liked this video. If you liked it, do give it a thumbs up and see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you have any feedback and suggestions, or if you found something useful, do let me know in the comments below, and like this video, definitely share it with your friends and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.